Hello and welcome to my video on cryptocurrencies. There will be actually a series of videos where we will cover several things. We want to establish the solid foundations, how cryptocurrency actually work, and we will essentially start from the very basics. So in this short video, I'll give you an overview over the general structure of all the different videos, and you can also find the corresponding lecture notes. So what are we going to do? Well, we are covering several topics, and the goal is to establish a very rigorous and foundational introduction to cryptocurrencies. So we will start with the mathematical foundations, which consist mainly of two parts. One thing is this beautiful structure of groups, which describes how certain operations can be performed on sets. And the second part that we will cover, of course, is probability theory, because sometimes the adversary might win with a very small probability, and we need to analyze the success. Once we establish these foundations, we will review the underlying cryptographic primitives and also discuss the notion of provable security. Provable security was this amazing invention where in some sense we ended the cat and mouse game, where the adversary was breaking a scheme and cryptographers were building new schemes. There was this establishment of understanding what does security mean and how can we build cryptographic schemes on solid foundations. I will link additional videos for this as well. After having established the notion of provable security, I will introduce hash functions and signature schemes, as these are the main cryptographic building blocks of Bitcoin. Once we have established these two things, which will essentially cover, or which will be covered in the first 2 weeks, we will start by introducing, or by essentially defining, the properties of Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency, and we will essentially start by looking at the individual components. We will start by looking at how transactions actually look like. We will take a look on what is the blockchain. And finally, we will take a deeper look at the consensus level. Once we finish this second big part of this introduction, we will also take a look at applications of Bitcoin and also at the limitations. So in particular, right, as you probably already know, transactions to the blockchain are in general quite expensive. So how can we reduce them? And this is when we will come to the point where we will discuss payment channels. Finally, anonymity, of course, is a huge problem. Many people think that transactions in Bitcoin are anonymous, but we will see that this is actually not the case. And then we will also discuss approaches how to actually improve it. So let's get started and take a look on what will be covered in the first video. Well, in the first video, we will start, as I said before, with the basics. And to understand this part of the video, I'll assume some prerequisites. In particular, I will assume that you are familiar with basic arithmetics and also with basics in algorithms. So the goal of this first videos is to understand and establish the foundations of groups and also the notion of probability theory. So let's get started.